What's up, family? For those of y'all that don't know me, my name is Marcus, or you can call me Kosher, or King Kosher. And first off, I just want to thank you for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you can find something useful in it. So, yeah, man, this video, I think this is gonna be the first of like a new way of producing videos, because it's so much that I want to say or feel like I have to say. Even that right there is one of the things. Like, when you saying I have to do something, if you really want to get into it and be able to get involved with the energy of what you saying and what you know trying to portray, what you intended with it, to look a little closer at it. The depth of your vision is determined by the depth of your gaze. So like, look a little closer at what you saying. And that's with everything, but even, particularly in this situation, what I'm talking about is like, you say, oh, or I say, oh, I have to talk about all these different things. But really, when I say that, it's like obligation or it's something that I gotta do. But if you look at it, it's like, what I said was have to. So this is something, I could look at it as something I gotta do, or this is something that I have to do. This is like, if I have $1 million, you know what I'm saying? So this is something that I have to do. And then even right there, it's kind of like the get to, got to thing, the get to, got to mentality hack. If you haven't seen it, check the page for it. I may even put a link for it in the description. Maybe not though, don't. But check the page for sure. But yeah, it's the same thing where when you're saying you have to, you're perceiving it as an obligation. But then when you kind of alter your perspective, really, when you alter your perspective on the words that you're saying, but it's also like when you change your intent of the word, and that's happening on a subconscious level. Like, just by changing that thing on a surface level, just by changing the spelling of it, you change the result of what you're saying in a way. Or even just by changing the phrasing of it or the emphasis of it, all these different things are different because they produce something different. So it's like all these different variations are there to produce different results, and you can use it actively, or you can use it inactively, passively, or I guess impassively, aggressively. I don't know, but I think you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh. Hold on. Like right now, I have to set this phone back up, but if I look at it as a thing that I have to do, I can also consider that I can change the position and then, show the scenery. This fountain just came on out of nowhere, so like I could add that to it. And even that, like, difference in the process implies a difference in the results. Because if I hadn't have changed it and just looked at it as an obligation to set the phone back up, I could have sat here and got frustrated because it wasn't working how I wanted it to, or whatever the case may be. But because I did it like that, for one, it opened up the space for me to not get too frustrated, the space for me to show you something I wanted to show you. But it also led me to a different position where I found something that I didn't see before, just from being in that position of having that appreciative perspective instead of being frustrated and locked in and focused and arrogant, or like, and I say that in the sense of like disregarding any other information besides what you know as truth. Like, that's what I meant by that. So instead of being in that place where I'm getting frustrated because of obligation, all those things come with it. That appreciation is I'll say lighter space, but it's just a different position, and a different position can produce a different perspective. So I almost lost my train of thought, but what I was saying was, from being in that appreciative state, I then have been brought to a place of more. It's a perpetuation. It's a place of more things to appreciate. Whereas if I went into that obligation, fell into that frustration, it would have been more. It would have perpetuated. It would have been a position that perpetuated the same thing, which would have been that frustration and that sense of obligation. I was just looking at something the other day, and they were talking about if you take an orange and squeeze an orange, no matter how hard you squeeze it, or no matter what you do to it, orange juice is gonna come out that orange. You're not gonna get apple juice, you're not gonna get banana juice. Orange juice is gonna come out of an orange because that's what's in it. And he was saying that in the sense of like, you as a person, nobody can make you do something. Something comes out of you that was in you, you know what I'm saying? So they didn't like make you kill somebody or whatever, but like that was in you to kill them, and then they put you in a position and it, you know, brought it out. But yeah, what I was saying, the reason why I was saying the thing about the oranges is because like, if you go into that place of that obligation and, oh, woe is me and I'm frustrated, and if you go into that sinkhole, once you start squeezing it, you know, once you start putting your attention on it, where attention goes, energy flows. So once you start putting energy into that space, you then, you know, gonna get that orange juice. You then gonna perpetuate, you're gonna squeeze out what's inside of that thing, and that thing is your position. So that position of feeling frustrated and obligated, you're gonna squeeze out what's inside of frustration and obligation. Whereas if you go into the appreciation, you squeeze out what's inside of appreciation. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's, the thing is, the situation never changed. Only thing that changed was your mentality on it. That was the difference in the process that produced a difference in the results, your mentality on it. So like, the situation in this case was the phone falling or whatever, and then I could have went into that obligation juice and squeezed, I could have went into the obligation fruit and squeezed on it with my attention, with my energy, and I would have got obligation juice only. You know what I'm saying? And that could be good or bad. You know, everything has pros and cons, polarity, good and bad. You know, it's just depending on your perspective. But if I would have went into that, if I would have picked up the obligation fruit and squeezed it with my attention and my energy, I'm getting the obligation juice. Or with that same situation, that same feeling of, no, I ain't gonna say that, but that same situation, I can look and take it and turn to this appreciation fruit, turn to this have to, instead of that have to, turn to this appreciation, this have to, and put my attention on it and my energy on it and squeeze the appreciation juice out of it. It's up to me, you know? Either way, I'm gonna drink something of this situation. I'm gonna experience something out of this situation. And then you may say, well, what if I choose not to squeeze nothing and drink nothing? Okay, cool, but you still then would experience the sensation of thirst, or you still would experience something. Nothing doesn't exist. I can say more about that, but I can just leave it there and it could be its own thing, you know? So that's another thing. Like, I wasn't expecting to just say all that and talking all fast, but I guess that was just how the thoughts was flowing, and I was just trying to express them and share them. I think this may just be one video by itself. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, man, it's funny because like I actually wasn't intending on talking about anything, but I definitely wasn't expecting this. Like, I was expecting to not know, and then when I found out I didn't know, I was still surprised. The brain, man, or the mind, or I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about nothing, man. I can only speculate, and what I see is, it's crazy out here, but it's like, it's beautiful. And it's interesting, and it's everything, you know. It's life, and life is many things, and again, it goes back to your perspective. Your perspective can influence and even dictate, you know, and alter and, you know, control and limit. It can manipulate or, you know, be involved with your experience. Your perspective can alter your experience. The way you perceive your environment will always dictate your action and emotion. And if you go back to the first video on this channel, it is your superpower. And with that superpower, go watch the video if you haven't seen it. It'll be explained more what I'm finna say a little bit more in detail, but that superpower is to choose your perspective, you know? And what that means, if your perspective dictates your reality, your perspective dictates your actions and emotions. And your actions and emotions are who you are and what you do, which is you. That's your whole experience of life, right? As far as what's coming inside out, you know? But it works both ways too. We can get into that, but what I'm saying is, if your perspective is the thing that influences what you do and how you do it and how you feel, and I just told you, you know, or not even I just told you, but the reality is that you can choose your perspective. And if you want to get even deeper, a secret is you can create your perspective, you know, but that's another level, a level that you reach after you begin to choose your perspective, because you have to choose the perspective you create anyway. So this superpower to choose your perspective is the actual power to choose your experience. People always like not always, but every now and then I notice people like, I don't know, I don't even know how to say it, but like they have, I could say maybe they wonder why I live the way I live, or why I feel the way I feel about my life, or, you know, like, and even not even to say it like that, but also to say it like that, like some people wonder why I'm not miserable, or like they wonder why I have the presence or essence or energy that I have, you know. And it's because of that, because I discovered that superpower and then began to use it. And I try my best to use it take that tool that's a sword and share it and give it to anybody that'll take it. But that's what I do. And now with this sword, I begin a hero's journey or a warrior's journey, or even just the life of a sovereign journey. Sovereign means to like be your, basically kind of like your own commander, but not really. Like sovereign is like, I gotta police myself, you know what I'm saying? And it's deeper than that, because like once you get to another level of it again, because everything got levels, deeper and higher and lower, everything got levels. But you know, once you get to another level of it, you are your sovereign, yes, but like the thing that leads you is I call it the source force, or the source of the force, or ultimately, like, depending on who I'm talking to, I call it God, you know what I'm saying? My God. And that thing is the thing that then leads you into what you know, the type of sovereignty that you know, are to have or whatever. But definitely went off on a tangent and completely forgot what I was even talking about that for, like the whole sovereign thing. Man, I'm gonna watch the video back and be like, all right, but you know, all right, this probably be the last one I go into, and I can kind of see how, oh man, I love life, because my perspective on it allows me to see the things that are already there. Your perspective is like it dictates your internal frequency, and your frequency is a filter for how you experience what. But anyway, I was gonna say, like, another thing is the concept of everything goes how it's supposed to. Really, this situation right here is so much I could say. Like, for one, like I said at the beginning, I'm kind of like, I guess, experimenting with a new format of producing content, and I can see now how at first it just seemed like I was just randomly bumping through stuff, but in my head I see three main things that I kind of talked about, and now I can see it where, this will be a new way of doing it. You know, it just by the way it all played out, it produced something for me, is what I'm saying. It goes how it's supposed to. You get what you're supposed to get out of it. And so, like, that's with everything. Like, with me forgetting what I was talking about, that produced the circumstances to produce a certain result. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a random process. It's not a random occurrence. The specific circumstances that take place or that you experience, and those circumstances are generated. It's hard to kind of talk about certain things if a person if a person haven't experienced the same information as you. But it's like two things happening at once, where it's like, on the one hand, it's this one, man, I love it, because it's a polarity thing, and I think that is what I was talking about. But it's interesting too, because it keeps proving to me, and I'm having a hard time, but it's really funny to me. I'm having a hard time expressing it, but everything goes how it's supposed to, and it's steady hitting me. Like, everything keeps happening how it's supposed to me as I'm trying to explain it. And you know, again, it just happened because it led me to this. But the interesting thing is, things are happening how they're supposed to, but my perception of the situation, I think it's supposed to go a certain way. I think it's supposed to go a different way, but we don't know everything. We don't even know nothing, you know, really. Not know it, but you know what I'm saying? I have a way I think it's supposed to go, but it's already going to go how it is supposed to go. It already is going how it is supposed to go. And sometimes the way it's supposed to go is the way I think it should go, but sometimes it's not. And again, that goes into that arrogance I was talking about earlier, about refusing to acknowledge that you could be wrong, refusing to acknowledge that there could be some other truth, you know. But man, like, okay, so, and then it goes into how I was having trouble explaining it. It's almost like if you just go with the flow, or kind of like surrender to it, but then it talks about, or it kind of brings up to me about that relationship with God, because like to me, my perspective on it is my God is the thing that produces those circumstances, that flow, that script, that life script, that, you know, how it's supposed to go. My God produces that. And in my relationship developing more, I've come to trust even more and more and more, and even understand, you know, through experience, that the way it's supposed to go is the right way. So then that's how I can kind of let go of that arrogance that I'm talking about, and me thinking of it's supposed to go this way, but really the plan is for it to go this way. It's because of my relationship and experience with my God, who it is that I perceive is writing this script for me, or has wrote this script for me. It's because of that I can trust that this script, that way it's supposed to go, is better than the script that I made, the script in my head, the way I thought it was supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? So all right, man. all right. I'm grateful for one, for you, you know, sticking through me with all this. It was fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm grateful that I came out here, but that's on a personal level. So with that being said, you know, once again, I really do appreciate you checking out the video. And I just ask that if you feel the information in the video is kosher, that is genuine or legitimate, that you just give it a like, comment, subscribe, and or share the link for the video. Share the link for the video in an effort to present the information to someone else in hopes that they too can find something useful in it. And for anybody that wants to keep up with me on any social media, I'll post my Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram in the description. And as far as YouTube, when you subscribe, if you click the bell icon, YouTube will notify you whenever I post any new content. All right, so thanks again. I love you, and I'll see you when I see you.